Pimp, were you the one telling me they found the yellow brick road underneath the water?
Let me pull it up. They think it's the road to Atlantis in the bottom of the Pacific Ocean.
How wild is that? At the bottom of the Pacific
real?
Ocean. If Pimp says it's real, I believe it.
I've declared it's real.
Pimp's declared it's real. You know,
isn't it Greek mythology, Atlantis?
No. Well, here's the thing. I've been listening to a lot of Graham Hancock. Do you know Graham Hancock? I've probably spoken about him. I've been consuming his YouTube videos. I've now crossed into that
People
world.
really don't call him Graham Cock.
Graham Cock.
Yeah. No, I don't know him. I don't know who that is.
So he's like believes in alternative history. He's a big guy like Noah's Ark and all that because he's saying that we say that history started. Humans started in I think it's the Sumerian culture, like 5,000 BC. But he's saying there's evidence from 10,000 BC of more culture starting and more things happening. And basically at the end of the Ice Age, when the ice cap started to melt, you would have seen great floods and great cities being consumed underwater. Therefore, Atlantis could be a real place because like these great, magnificent cities could absolutely be underwater if you just forget about the fact that civilization started 5,000 years ago and instead started 10,000, 15,000 years ago. So what this is, the yellow brick road.
Is he a historian? Who is he?
He's an alternative historian. So, but that's what it is like. But he, has a PhD, publishes all these things. But because the archaeologists hate him because he's basically saying, I disagree with your findings. So basically, like literally 5 years ago, if you would have said society started in 5,000 BC with the Sumerian people, everyone would have taken that as fact. But then they just found Gobekli Tepe, it's called. Have you heard of this?
No.
So Gobekli Tepe is a civilization that was found in Turkey that was just unearthed, I think in like 2017, 2018. And it's from like 9,000 years ago. So it 100%.
Gobekli Tepe?
Yeah, Google Gobekli. Do you know what I'm talking about, Pimpy?
Yeah.
Google I think it's Gobekli Tepe. Gobekli Teppi. It's in ancient Turkey. It's in Turkey.
Once you go Gobekli though, you can't.
Once you go black, you never go back.
Yeah, you
right.
said Gobekli.
I said right. Yeah.
Is that it screws up the whole timeline of history, so it's all up in the air.
So that's what. But when it screws up the timeline of history, like Gobekli Tepe did, is. People, the science community pushes back because then it undoes all the work because they were saying 5,000 BC was when society started. Now this is saying 12,000 years ago this thing was built, and they had evidence of farming and animal domestication. So it wipes away the idea of society started in the Mesopotamia.
Sure, but aren't scientists and archaeologists assisting him in this theory because they're the one testing it?
Yes.
So how do they not like him? Isn't this like a major discovery for all of them?
Yeah, well, the guy who discovered this, his name was Klaus Schmidt. He died. He thinks that what these people did was built a city and then intentionally covered it with a mound. Like they intentionally covered their own city for some reason. And then it was found. So
can you pull that back up?
So people would go, like, if you literally 10 years ago, children were just playing on this mound of dirt.
Look at that. That's open concept. It's nice.
Yeah, so like, and exactly.
There's like, 3.5 baths?
Airbnb, it's big money on that.
They were playing on this. Wait, is this the same? Is this the same thing over and over, or is you just showing me examples of it? Are all these pictures the same thing?
Yeah.
So why is
they unearthed it? And they think that
why is it under a dome there?
Well, because now archaeologists are digging, and they only think that they've unearthed about 5% of it. They think that it is a massive structure that could have had a full society. Literally, think about how long ago 5,000 years was from today. Think about how long ago that was.
Yeah, about 5,000.
It was 5,000 years ago.
Right.
Long time.
3,000 BC.
Think about the difference between us and people from 5,000 years ago. Now think about 5,000 years before that, they were saying there was a society. So that's what they're saying is like, how advanced were they?
Right.
Some researchers even claiming it was the site of the biblical Garden of Eden. Some people think this is where they think the Old Testament was written out of this, Gobekli Tepe.
Wow.
But that's the thing with archaeology and discovery it's constantly evolving, but you have people very set in their ways that are like, we don't want to believe it because the history books say different. But it's like, well, this This
Well,
disproves
this
it.
is science disproving science, isn't it?
That's what it is.
So who said, you said before Noah's Ark? Who's believing that?
So so they believe that there was probably, because of the ice age and the polar caps melting, people going around building arks to get from what is now land. It was covered underwater with animals and farmers, and there may have been a guy that looked like that was an inspiration, that was inspo for Noah's Ark. And then that
Inspo?
That was inspo for Noah's Ark, and that story was written. So it's not pulled out of thin air.
I see. So it's not like that. Two of them is however we got every animal again. It's just like they were trying to salvage.
Yeah, the two of every kind might be just some bullshit that a writer made. But they're saying that parts of the Old Testament were probably, they thinking if society is, because it's pretty much like, literally, like the thing is with the Sumerian culture is like this. We go from hunter-gatherers, just in little tribes, little clans, to immediately domesticating animals and farming, like overnight, like in 20 years. So they're like, how did that happen?
Right.
How the fuck did that happen? It's like impossible. How are we for all this time doing it this way and then out of nowhere like that, and nobody could understand why? Well, now with this finding of Gobekli Tepe, people like Graham Hancock and other archaeologists that are like-minded like him are like, those hunter-gatherers from the Sumerian culture may have found Tepe or may have found books that they were doing it for years, but then where did they go?
Right.
Where did Gobekli Tepe go? Why did they cover their shit up?
Right.
Nobody knows anything.
You're getting heated.
So that's why it gets wild when you think about it. And then you talk about the Anunnaki people who they think they're the ones who built the pyramids, and they think they were alien people. And you see drawings of them from the caves of Australia to the caves of freaking North Carolina. It's wild, babe. YouTube is wild.
You go down these holes.
Honestly, other than watching Speshy Weshy on Netflix, I pretty much only watch YouTube.
Yeah. I here's what I gather. There's a lot we don't know, probably.
A hundo.
Now,
Right?
Don't be a fake, don't be a flake, don't run away from your feelings, babe.